If you're thinking about hiring a web designer, pause, because most of the horror stories I hear from small business owners could have been avoided with just a handful of simple checks. And I'm not exaggerating. I've had people come to me panicked, embarrassed, frustrated, even on the verge of tears, all because the website they were counting on to support their business actually ended up holding them back. So before you sign anything, before you hand over a deposit, before you trust someone with your digital storefront, let's talk about the 5 biggest mistakes business owners make when hiring a web designer and how you can avoid every single one of them. And by the way, stick with me until the end because I'm going to give you a simple, screenshotted ready checklist with all 5 mistakes, something you can actually use the next time you talk to a web designer. It's the exact checklist I wish every small business owner had before they hired anyone. Hey, I'm Rob McDonald, and I help small business owners build fast, secure, strategy-driven WordPress websites without the stress of trying to figure it all out on your own. My mission is pretty simple. I want your website to feel like the least stressful part of your business. And if we've never met, here's one thing you can know about me. I've worked with enough business owners to understand that you don't need more complications. You need clarity, trust, and support. You're juggling clients, orders, marketing, bookkeeping, family. Your plate is full. You shouldn't be lying awake at night wondering if your website still works or if your designer just vanished. Now, to be totally fair, most web designers want to be helpful. They're creative people who think in visuals, colors, layouts, branding, user experience, and honestly, that part matters. A good designer can take your ideals and turn them into something beautiful and professional. But here's where things often go sideways for small business owners. A designer's job usually stops at the visuals. They're not trained or hired to think about SEO, speed, hosting, security, backups, or how your site will grow with your business. That's not their lane. So what happens is the site looks great on the surface, but the foundation, the strategy, and the long-term plan never get addressed. It's like building a gorgeous storefront with fancy signs, but forgetting the wiring and the plumbing. And that gap between what designers do and what business owners think they do is the reason so many people feel let down after launch. Let's jump into the mistakes. So let's talk about mistake number 1, hiring for looks only. Let me share a story. I once worked with a coach named Melissa. She hired a designer whose portfolio looked like it belonged in a museum. Gorgeous layouts, stunning color palettes, topography that made you want to cry. And when her site launched, she was thrilled for about 2 weeks. Then she noticed something strange. No new leads, no calls, no discovery call bookings. She told me later, Rob, it feels like my business is invisible. And she wasn't wrong. The site had 0 SEO structure, 0 performance optimization, and the homepage, while beautiful, didn't actually tell visitors what she did or how she helped people. It was all aesthetic, no strategy. And here's the part that hit her hard. She realized she had paid for a piece of digital art instead of a digital asset. That's the emotional punch of hiring based on pretty pictures alone. So here's the general rule. Ask the designer, what's your strategy for SEO, speed, and conversions? If they only talk about colors and fonts, that's a sign they're not thinking about your business results, just their portfolio. Now for mistake number 2, not owning your domain, hosting, or accounts. This one gets me every time. I once worked with a photographer named Gina. Her entire business, her brand, her bookings, her galleries, all lived on her website. But her designer had registered her domain under his personal account, and that's a big red flag. You should have your domain registered under your own account, and this is the most important part of your online presence. This is your digital address. So guess what? When her designer disappeared, so did her access to her website. She told me, Rob, I feel like someone stole my business. And honestly, she wasn't wrong. A domain is your digital real estate. Your hosting is your land. Your website is your building. If someone else owns the deed, you're never truly in control. The emotional toll of that is real. Fear, frustration, helplessness, even embarrassment. No business owner deserves to feel like they're locked out of their own brand. So always ask, who owns what? How's the access shared? What happens if we part ways? If the answer isn't crystal clear, then walk away. Now let's talk about mistake number 3, ignoring hosting, speed, security, and maintenance. We need to talk about Tony for a second. Tony runs a small family restaurant. Great food, local favorite, tons of loyal customers. One Friday night, his website went down, completely offline. Reservations stopped coming in. People assumed they were closed. He later found out that his designer had never set up backups, never enabled security monitoring, and installed plugins that hadn't been updated in years. Tony called me sounding exhausted. He said, "I'm losing money every minute this thing is down." And I could hear the stress in his voice. That's the emotional weight of poor maintenance. Your website isn't just a brochure. It's part of your customer experience. And when it breaks, your business doesn't just lose clicks, it loses trust. So ask your designer, what's your ongoing plan for updates, backups, speed, and security? If they don't have a real answer, that's a problem waiting to happen. Now for mistake number 4, no clear process or communication. I want to tell you about Bria, a salon owner. She hired a designer who seemed fantastic at first. Great personality, great portfolio, great ideas. But then the communication started slipping. Weeks went by, then months. She kept telling herself, he's probably just busy. It'll get done soon. By the time she reached out to me, she had been waiting 5 months for a website that was supposed to take 4 weeks. She said, "Rob, every time I emailed him, I felt like I was annoying him." That's the emotional reality of unclear communication, self-doubt, frustration, and feeling like you're being a burden. But here's one thing to remember, and very important. You are the client. You deserve clarity. You deserve updates. You deserve a process. Ask, what are the milestones? What's the timeline? How often will I hear from you? What happens if I have questions? If they can't answer, imagine how the project will feel 3 months in. Spoiler alert, not great. Now this brings us to mistake number 5, no long-term plan or roadmap. And you know what? This one hits home for so many business owners. I worked with a wellness coach one time, Sarah, who told me, my website feels frozen in time, like it hasn't grown with my business. And she was right. Her brand evolved, her programs evolved, her audience evolved, but her website stayed stuck in the past. And the more out of sync her website felt, the more embarrassed she became to send people there. That's the emotional cost of not having a roadmap: shame, hesitation, and lost confidence. When we later built her a 12-month roadmap, including SEO, improvements, new pages, speed optimization, content updates, she said, "For the first time, I feel like my website and my business are finally on the same page." That's what a roadmap does. It gives you clarity, momentum, and confidence. Okay, now, as I promised in the beginning of this video, here's your 5-question hiring checklist. Be sure to screenshot this. What's your strategy beyond design? Who owns my domain, hosting, and accounts? How will my site be maintained securely over time? What is your process and communication rhythm? What's the long-term roadmap for my website? If they can answer these clearly, great. You found a pro, someone who cares about your success as much as you do. And if not, keep moving. You deserve someone who respects your business, your time, and your goals. Okay, let's sum this all up. Hiring a web designer shouldn't feel like a gamble. When you get the right person, your website becomes a growth engine, not a stress engine. I want you to feel confident, supported, and in control of your online presence. If you want more resources, more guidance, or just a clearer path forward, head on over to my website, WP Ed Solutions. You'll find tools, tips, and insights that can help you make your WordPress site faster, safer, and more effective. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new WordPress tips every single week to help you understand your site better and to get the most out of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.